can read the title. You can also ignore the fact that I'm a PNG today. We're going off of class order, so first off...
Grass grows, birds fly, sun shines, and brother, I hurt people. I don't know who to thank first. Oh, I know. Me!
The Scout, real name Jeremy Willis, seems to be a clear case of narcissistic personality disorder. Narcissistic personality disorder, as defined by the Mayo Clinic. I'm using the Mayo Clinic for most of this due to it being very clear and succinct and easy to find in research. Well, I know about the DSM-5 and would prefer to use it. It's like $60 and I don't want to buy it or get a virus from trying to pirate it. Anyway, it's defined as a mental health condition in which people have an unreasonably high sense of their own importance. They need and seek too much attention and want people to admire them. People with this disorder may lack the ability to understand or care about the feelings of others. But behind this mask of extreme confidence, they are not sure of their self-worth and are easily upset by the slightest criticism. This feels very in line with the Scout as a person, with lines like these.
You knuckleheads ain't even worth the effort. Yo, I ought to be on a baseball card. Is anybody even paying attention to me? Hit the road, bozo. Let a real Scout get to work. You're a disgrace to the uniform, pal. Eat it, you mute frickin' moron. I'll put it in my trophy room with the others. I don't know who to thank first. Oh, I know. Me. Hey, look at me. Look at me.
Let's win already. I don't got time for this. I got a date, a real one. Don't look into it. Hey, I'll say it. Everybody else here's too scared to say it, but I'll just say what everybody's thinking. We're all best friends. We are all dear, dear friends. Birthday party at my place this weekend, by the way. Nobody showed up last weekend, so I figured, I don't know, big whoop, I'd just have it again.
Now, I could go over voice lines all day, but let's move on to the comics and other assorted media. First off, expiration date, or really 90% of what he does. To be perfectly honest, I would rather not tell you an entire plot summary, so just watch it if you care. In the Meet the Scout video, he has these interactions.
I don't even know where to start with you. I mean, do you even know who you're talking to? Do you have any idea who I am? Oh man, that's beautiful.
And in the comics, the two main interactions that exemplify his self-aggrandizing tendencies are in A Cold Day in Hell and in The Naked and the Dead. The first interaction, found on page 54 of A Cold Day in Hell, in which he is offered sex, but he is so busy praising his own personal prowess that they get bored of listening to him, finding another man for the offer. Scout doesn't even realize this as he is stuck in his own head. The second one, found on pages 173 to 185 of The Naked and the Dead, in which he dies for a bit and talks to God, has two interpretations which both make him self-absorbed. His brain, while dying, made up him going to heaven and talking to God, in which he is told by God, which is just him talking to himself, that he is my gift to them. Them, in this case, being all women of Earth. Genuinely. When he actually died for a little bit and went to heaven and was told by God that he was a gift to all women, he said, "Geez, that's what I've been saying." Also, side note, later on in the same comic, he's shown not to be able to read, so he might be dyslexic, but since this is only one moment, it's not enough to call anything.
Screaming eagles!
At this point in making the video, I got sick, and while it's over, my throat is not fully healed, and my YouTuber voice is very physically taxing on my throat, so the rest of the video is narrated by I'm a Spoon.
A soldier, real name Jane Doe, has severe lead poisoning. Like, this isn't even a theory, it's just there. Page 59 of Unhappy Returns. Yeah, just lead poisoning, but it does shed interesting light on his character and his odd delusions. Like him covering himself in honey while naked to fight bears on page 30 of A Cold Day in Hell makes a lot more sense if you are affected by severe lead poisoning. In large enough doses, lead poisoning can even lead to psychosis, according to LSU. And Soldier has bouts of psychosis, or is just a moron due to the severe lead poisoning. It's not exactly clear, but it's clear to be seen from his wonky sense of reality that he is pretty off. For example, in Gordwart's Crash, he is seen talking to cut oats like they're people. He, on the official TF2 website, is stated to be denied the right to serve the US military from every branch. Despite this, he still thinks he is a soldier. Furthermore, in his Meet the video, he spends the entire time speaking to severed heads, which he is so attached to that it is used as a bargaining chip by their employer to threaten him on page 7 and 8 of the Meet the Director comic. The rest of his behavior can largely be explained by the lead mixed with hyper-nationalism, which was most likely spurred from World War II propaganda. Oh yeah, he is hyper-nationalist, as is seen by his violently American view of everything. First off, he has an RPG named the Liberty Launcher, which is pretty on the nose. Also, when denied by the military to join World War II, he personally went to Germany to kill Nazis. Furthermore, he has these voice lines of him insulting people who aren't American.
Consider yourself dominated, you Scotch son of a b****. Scotland is not a real country. You are an Englishman with a dress. Stars and Stripes beats Hammer and Sickle. Look it up. You just got dominated, Fritz. I will send my condolences to your kangaroo wife. Go play your pinko chess game with the devil, commie. Words cannot express how much I hate France right now. Hit the showers, Frenchie.
One
shudders to imagine what inhuman thoughts lie behind that mask. What dreams of chronic and sustained cruelty.
The Pyro, real name unknown, is an odd case, as from the outside he seems like just a psychotic pyromaniac, but the symptoms are so severe and odd that I'm not quite sure. While everyone else sees his actions as maniacal, he sees them as a Care Bear version. Here's a good example. So now, the question is, what on God's green earth can cause such vivid delusions? Also, his delusions get less vibrant the less violence and fire is in the picture. Honestly, given the odd presentation of symptoms, I feel like most doctors would make it a wholly new diagnosis and call it pyromaniac psychosis or something. If I had to diagnose it to anything, I would either consider it a case of pyromania so strong it causes all-encompassing delusions, or pyromania mixed with one of the worst cases of schizophrenia ever recorded.
I'm a grim-blooded fable with an unhappy bloody end! Oh, they're going to have to glue you back together in hell!
Demo Man, real name Tavish Finnegan DeGroot, is a functioning alcoholic with generational trauma. For the functioning alcoholic part, while he is almost constantly drunk, he is able to hold 3 jobs, which is impressive even for a sober man. But he also drinks so much that on page 24 of The Naked and the Dead, when fighting blood-sucking robots, he has an advantage over them as his blood is so potent that it gives the robots alcohol poisoning. Side note, he's only able to do that because his dependency is so bad that when he went without a drink for a bit, he gave himself autobrewery disease. And if that's not chemical dependency, I don't know what is. As for the generational trauma part, that circles back to the 3 jobs, as his family puts immense pressure on him to get as many jobs as possible, to the point where his mom thinks he's lazy for only having 3 jobs, even though he's making $5 million a year in the late 60s, which led him to lose his eye due to a cursed book. And to be perfectly honest, I wouldn't be surprised if this pressure is what led him to drink in the first place. Side note, he is missing part of his brain as it was scooped out, so he is partially brain damaged.
I've yet to meet one that can outsmart a bullet.
The Heavy, real name Mikhail, is what I believe to be a case of PTSD, but to be perfectly honest, I'm not confident on this one. PTSD is defined as a mental health condition that's caused by an extremely stressful or terrifying event, either being part of it or witnessing it. Symptoms may include flashbacks, nightmares, severe anxiety, and uncontrollable thoughts about the event. The main thing that makes Heavy hard to determine is his inconsistency with him when he is on and off work, mixed with none of the comics or assorted media taking place from his point of view, so it's harder to know what he's thinking. When on the job, he seems to reveal violence, saying things like,
I promise you, pain without end. Oh, run! Run! I'm coming for you!
Yay! He also has a deep pride and takes a little too good care of his weapons, to the point that he sleeps with his minigun and is disappointed that the bed for his minigun is too small. While off the job, that big, jovial, sadistic personality seems to be swapped with a much more stoic, reasonable man, who even has a doctorate in Russian literature, and he seems to be able to understand what is needless violence, and tells the tale with what seems to be sorrow in his voice.
There was Sparrow sitting on fence. Snow falls quietly around me. Without notice, another boy jumps from behind tree and kills Sparrow with throwing knife. The boy runs away.
And then?
I pick up Sparrow and hear his last breath before digging him tiny grave.
While this is questionably canon, it still shows his character in a way that Valve approved, so I think that's good enough. Furthermore, when off work, he seems to be a rather caring character, taking care of his whole family, who are in the deep Siberian forest, to the point where he sends a large amount of money he makes back to them. He also seems to be genuinely concerned for them. Aw, so cute. He almost acts like 2 different people, and while DID seems fitting, He is far too conscious in remembering things that happened in his altered self for that to fit perfectly, and while he could have a system of alters communicating with each other, I don't think that's very likely. Bipolar disorder fits nicely, but I think I favor an odd presentation of PTSD due to his troubled past. In meeting the director, his past in revolutionary Russia is revealed with the director saying,
"Your family only lived in that gulag for 3 months. In December 1941, it burned to the ground. All the prisoners had escaped. All the guards had been killed. Tortured to death."
Given his past and how he acts with his family, his relationship with violence is one manufactured by circumstance. I believe a lot of people in the same shoes as him would turn to things like mercenary work. I think that line of violence is only natural given an upbringing like that, prepping you for violence as a means to an end in an anti-authority perspective. PTSD is also marked by extreme anxiety over the event, and given how heavy he acts, it seems like the anxiety is over his family's safety, just to put another dash in the PTSD column. Frick. PTSD column.
Heavy caliber tripod mounted little old number designed by me. Built by me. And you best hope not pointed at you.
The engineer, real name Del Coninger, is a bit odd, because to be perfectly honest, he is the most sane of the mercs. The only real points I can levy against him is, like the rest of the mercs, he seems to take joy in his job of killing people for money, and he has a bit of a god complex with 2 lines of him directly saying so.
I am a god! I am a pink pony god!
On the god complex thing, I can't really even hold that against him because he can make teleporters, automatic turrets decades ahead of what we have now, and dispensers capable of healing people from any wound just by standing near of it, using a literal scrap in the 1960s.
Del Coninger built this in a cave! With a box of scraps! Anyway, I'm gonna go fight Iron Man. I'm gonna beat him. Oh no, I didn't beat him!
A god complex is kinda warranted with being able to do that, and it's not even accounting for his 11 PhDs or the fact that he can make immortality machines. And back to his enjoyment of violence, which is definitely there.
Woo-wee! Making bacon. Gotcha, mumbles. Y'all come back now.
It seems to just be sadism as opposed to any real underlying medical condition, as his upbringing seems to be perfectly normal, and his ability to make friends and have compassion doesn't seem to be inhibited as shown in the comics, with him reading bedtime stories to Pyro, and him having a sensible conversation between adults with Miss Pauling. Sadly, that's a rarity. So I think he's just a bit of a sadist, but other than that, he's largely mentally fine. Woo!
Let's go practice medicine.
That was not medicine!
The medic, real name Herbert Ludwig, is a madman by purest definition. First of all, he isn't even a doctor, as his medical license was revoked for stealing an entire man's skeleton while he was alive, and that's the most tame thing he's done. Honestly, it would just be easier to list it, so I'm going to. He exploded a man's heart, immediately replaced that man's heart with a wild animal on a punch, replaced 8 other people's hearts with animals' hearts, does surgery on awake patients, implanted multiple baboon uteruses into a person to see what would happen, which he later remotely detonated one to have a baby monkey pop out of their body like a chest burster, surgically stole and sewed 8 other people's souls into his own, keeps a living head in his fridge that begs for death,
Kill me later.
cut out a man's brain to put it in a pumpkin, and scooped out a part of someone's brain so he would stop asking him questions. And that's just what we know about. To further drive the point home, he also said these things.
Can you feel the Schadenfreude? Ha ha! What a bloodbath! 1, 2, 3. I do not think we bought enough body bags. Is there a point to your lives? The healing is not as rewarding as the hurting. Oops! That was not medicine.
I don't believe I need to explain myself when I say he's a psychopath, so let's move on.
Because at the end of the day, long as there's 2 people left on the planet, someone is going to want someone dead.
I'm not done yet, mate. Not by a long shot.
The sniper, real name Mundi. No f***ing way. The sniper, real name Mundi, seems to be a case of antisocial personality disorder. Or a weird presentation of PTSD, as a lot of things can just be a weird case of PTSD, as it's more about the cause for it, rather than how it's shown, so it implies a lot of things, but I digress. Antisocial personality disorder is a mental health condition in which a person consistently shows no regard for right and wrong, and ignores the feelings and rights of others. People with antisocial personality disorder tend to purposely make others angry or upset, and manipulate or treat others harshly or with cruel indifference. They lack remorse or do not regret their behavior. The main symptoms of APD center around ignoring empathy and pity for the sake of one's own standing. And that fits perfectly with the characterization of an assassin. Mr. Mundy has a clear and repeated disregard for human life as shown by his work in the first place, and by these voice lines.
Wave goodbye to your head, and how am I gonna save you? I'm gonna blow the insides of your head all over 4 counties. Everything above your neck's gonna be a fine red mist.
Side note, while having an element of enjoyment from his work, he does not seem to wish for prolonged suffering, and regards a sniper who did such, saying, "He wasn't a sniper, and he was a sadist. There's a difference." This distaste for needless cruelty seems to stem less from empathy, but from seeing it as a waste of time or unprofessional, as can be seen in how he talks about his job in Meet the Sniper.
Not a crazed gunman, Dad. I'm an assassin. What the difference being one has a job and the other's mental sickness? Professionals have standards. Be polite. Be efficient. Have a plan to kill everyone you meet.
Mr. Mundy sees this as a job, and his callousness towards others seems to just be indifference instead of outright enjoyment in others' pain. I would say that behavior stemming from that, like shown from Mundy, lines up with APD. Now, it's not the most textbook example, as he is shown to have some empathy as shown with his relationship with his parents, but he could be a less extreme case, or it could just be PTSD, as I said before, but I believe APD fits better.
And worst of all, he could be any one of us. He could be you. He could be me. He could even be right behind you.
The spy, real name also unknown, is very similar to the sniper, to the point I would consider lumping him in with the sniper in one big section for both of them. Just like the sniper, he seems to have a case of APD, but this time it seems more blatant, and even his core mechanics. Spy already fills the symptoms of sniper with a similar level of callousness with murder.
Oh dear, I've made quite a mess. You got blood on my suit.
Oh, please, just stay down.
But unlike the sniper, he seems to take much more joy in it. While the sniper has lines of him laughing at people he killed, Spy seems to have much more lines of a similar sadistic intent.
Laughter really is the best medicine. Does it hurt when I do that? It does, doesn't it? Oh, soldier, who will they ever find to replace you? Anyone!
Furthermore, unlike Sniper, who doesn't seem to be shown with any behavior around lying for personal gain, the spy is... it's on the tip of my tongue. Oh, yeah! A spy! His entire job is to lie to people for his own gain. And this even goes into his main gameplay mechanic of disguising himself and lying to the enemy about being on their side to literally stab them in the back. He is also similar to the sniper in showing some empathy, but this is much more rare for him, as he only does it to comfort a dying man and to make a child stop crying. Unlike Sniper, I don't think how he acts can be really attributed to a weird PTSD, but then again, given his age and when the game takes place, he almost definitely lived through the Nazi occupation of France, so... Also, side note, this line...
I like my teams like I like my romances, in groups of 6.
I believe is meant to play into his womanizing aspect. Because of the wording of groups of 6, that implies they're all dating each other in some sort of polyamorous deal. This implies that he either 1, has been in a relationship with a man, or 2, is being used as a living martial aid by a group of lesbians. Either way, pretty funny. I don't know how to end this video, so I'm just gonna throw a pie at you.